Welcome to Solid Rock Christian Assembly. My name is Hina. There is strength in numbers. The Bible says that one will put 1,000 to flight, but two will put 10,000. And that's why church growth is important to God. Join us in the sanctuary to hear more from Pastor Garth.
Solid Rock welcomes you.
It is God's desire for us to grow, and it's so important for us to recognize that, to see it as a privilege and as a responsibility, to know that the most important thing for Almighty God on planet Earth today is kingdom expansion. It is God working in and through us to fulfill His plan for growth, for kingdom growth. Consider this. Growth is important in almost every sphere. Expecting growth should be a normal thing. We like to see when, things grow. We like crop growth. You like to plant your things in the backyard and then come back out and see the size of your tomato. How many of you like to plant tomato and then to come back and see this marble-looking size? No. You want to see tomatoes that can outdo your Italian neighbors. You want them to come plump. You want them to mature quickly. You want them to have sweetness and just big, fat, juicy tomatoes. We also like to see cucumber. At our marriage session yesterday, someone said it was a cucumber. And when they said something long and green, which was probably was the plantain or something, the person said, well, maybe I'm a cucumber. But we love to see long cucumber. I like to see many crops grow. Some I do not like onions. For me, if they all die, then, I don't know why people eat this thing, but my wife forces it on me by, if I don't want to see it, she take a grinder and pack a whole lot of onion juice in my food. If it was up to me, it would not grow. Just where we were living in Bradford, and the Bradford Marsh, they produce like 25% of all onions that the nation of Canada would consume. Imagine that for a moment. All of that in my backyard. I couldn't stand the smell of that thing. But we like it when crops grow. We like it when we see animals. Nowadays, we're trying to inject them to get them to grow so quickly so they can go from, the hashing process to that place where it would be on our table very quickly. We like to see our children grow. Our children, we measure them all the time, and if somehow, they're not growing, we are a little concerned. We like to see children grow. We like to see schools grow. Well, we started a school here, and our population is pretty small, but this year we were able to get 100% growth, and we were just so excited just to say we have 100% growth. And we figure if we should keep this up, 100% growth, I started encouraging myself, our numbers are small, but if we should get 100% growth every year, by the time, 10, 20 years from now, we'll be the largest school in the world. I was sitting there just playing with numbers, and I'm like, all we have to do is just keep this up, 100% growth every year, and then we'll be the largest school in the world long before I'm retired. We love to see growth. We love to see business growth. Accountants love profits, and they hate losses. Some of us, we love to see family growth. There are young mothers here who can't wait. Some of them are single also, just to get married so they could just have all 12 of them. Pop, 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 drop, drop, drop. They're just so excited about that. And all the ladies are saying, whatever happened to you, this generation? People love growth. People can benefit significantly from growth. When it comes to technology growth, wow, we benefit so much. Maybe they watch us a little too much. But hey, there are certain benefits that comes with it. The airline, we are just so excited to know that we can just sit in comfort and just wait there. We can even go on airlines with upper levels. You just simply go shower, prepare yourself, and all of that. And just for an additional $5,000 or $6,000 for your flight, you can shower, you can smell good, you can relax and sleep and get there. Just like the people downstairs saving $5,000, $6,000 less. And we all gather there at the same time. I don't see the benefits of it. I prefer to put it into the resort or car or something else. I mean, to pay $5,000-6,000 just to get there like everyone else. And here's the thing, if anything goes wrong, the people in first class suffer just as much as the people in the other level. There are no really true benefits. We love the growth as a result of the automobile, the personal computer, all these different things. Growth, we benefit from it. Consider this also. If there is no growth, there will be cause for alarm. If our children will not grow, we panic. We send them to doctors. We start to try to figure out why very quickly. If our crops do not grow, we're concerned. That can cause a famine. If our animals do not grow, again, apart from these little dogs, that I'm not even sure anymore. I was driving in my driveway yesterday, and I saw this little thing about the size of a rat running across the driveway. Then when I looked, there was a human following that thing, and it was all dressed up. I said, "What is that?" Only to realize that it's something from the dog kind. I dare say to you today that that's not a dog. That is a deranged, deprived mutt. It is something from the rat kind that has taken the shape of a dog. The thing weighed maybe 1.5 pounds. I'm not kidding you. I thought to myself, if a cat should see that, it will eat it for lunch. But most times we're concerned. I was concerned about that little thing. If our animals do not grow, we are concerned. If our cattle do not grow, we are concerned. If our finances do not grow, we are concerned also. We like to see our net worth increasing, on a yearly or monthly basis. We sit back and we say, did I go forward or backward? We're concerned as it relates to growth. If businesses do not grow, we're concerned. When Nortel decided, when Nortel fell apart at the end of that technology bubble at the end of the 90s, in the 1990s, we were concerned because all of a sudden Nortel was the darling of the stock market, and then little after that they were selling stocks for $1. Then 50 cents. At one point it was selling, I think, somewhere near 125, 130. And man, everyone wanted to work there. But after it crashed, there was great hardship, great pain. Because when things do not grow, it affects people around us. It affects their destiny. Last week I went home and as I was sitting there playing with a television thing, I saw a documentary on Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft. And I thought to myself, wow, I'm not going to watch that. And I sat there for a while and I said, wow, you know what, I'm going to watch it. I've always wanted to. And so I watched the first one. And after the first one, I saw a backup one. I watched the next one. And then after that, I saw another one. And I watched the next one because I went from simply not interested to the point of, hey, what's next? Looking at the journey of this rather, strong-willed, nerdy kid who gave his mom a lot of challenges, and it was difficult to understand aspects of his behavior. But then at the end of the day, it was translated into a man who was able to bring about solutions on the technological front like no one else. He was able to become the richest man in the world consistently year after year. Occasionally, someone would come and take over, like maybe someone from Amazon or Walmart or something, or out of Mexico. But usually it's a very temporary thing. But after a while, he would be right back there. It's like the richest man in the world belongs to him. You watch it and you look at his journey and you recognize that when a person is focused and when a person is determined and when a person decides to go contrary to what is so-called normal or what is our normal inclination or our normal sense of comfort, you will recognize that great things can be accomplished. And God is interested in growth. He really is. When it comes to the church, it is no different. Growth is important. Jesus departed planet Earth about 50 days after his resurrection. And he left 11 disciples. And he gave them a command by saying to them, go into all the world and preach the gospel. He told them some 2,000 years ago at a time when technology was very, very minimal. The fastest way to get around back then was probably the horse. Ships were there also that had, you had tremendous challenge because they did not have the kind of steam engine or whatever they would use to push that thing forward. It was hard work. Moving from place to place was difficult. Because the world has changed so much, and now we have the capacity to communicate. You have WhatsApp, you can even call for free. Back then, you have to save a lot of money to call. That's just the way it was. It's almost like either you could skip calling for a little while, save your money, and then fly down and see them. Now you just call WhatsApp. Every day they say, hey, what's up? I'm calling from WhatsApp. It's a different world. Because the world has gotten smaller. The ability to spread our wings and the ability to have influence, the ability to go places, the ability to be heard. It is so much easier now. But Paul the Apostle, dealing with a very challenging period, Peter and the rest of the apostles and the church themselves, as they scattered, guess what? Jesus left after 50 days, told them to go into all the world and preach the gospel. And 32 years later, right into the church at Colossae, Paul declared that this gospel has reached the whole world. The entire known world was reached in a matter of 32 years. We have the ability to do great things. It all depends on our mindset. It all depends on our focus. We have the capacity to do amazing things by the grace of God. I looked, and as I watched Bill Gates going, and I thought to myself on a couple of occasions, would I want Bill Gates' life? And I said to myself, no. He's a necessary person in terms of the advancement of some things in the world. The world owes him a lot in terms of, the production of certain things and the efficiency, businesses and all of that, schools and individuals who are able to benefit in the area of especially knowledge. But at the same time, would I want to be him? No. I said I have a more important cause. I have a bigger cause. I have, the ability to touch people for all eternity. Today, he's 63 years old. Look a little bit more mature because he's invested a lot in life. 63 years old, but yet at the same time, he's put in many, many decades in terms of contribution, just work efficiency and what he has contributed to this life. But you look at it and you say, all of that drive, all of that passion to impact the world on a temporary level as it relates to your life and the people who will benefit. But when it comes to the kingdom of God, it is a kingdom that opens the door to all eternity. It is a great cause. It is the most important mandate on the face of planet Earth. You are a part of something that is just absolutely remarkable. But oftentimes we become blinded and our perspective become dim because we do not recognize that we are accountable to the great God of the universe who gave his greatest mandate. This was his last words before he left planet Earth. He said, "Go into all the world." He said, "You will receive power when the Spirit is come upon you." You are called to go out there and have significant impact. And the enemy has mastered, his whole creativity, art of deception to keep us preoccupied and to keep us away from church growth. The apostles and those individuals took it seriously, and 32 years later, they were able to touch the entire known world. Can you imagine if our technologically advanced church decide to utilize all the things at their disposal to advance the kingdom of God? Imagine if if our hearts and our soul were driven in that area. Dr. Francis Aitken John, he gave some reasons why churches fail to grow sometimes. He said, well, one thing is inward focus. A church gets so caught up with just working the inner walls. No church naturally defaults into an outward focus. Instead, they turn inside to meet internal needs unless they intentionally fight against that trend. It has to be something intentional on the part of the church because our automatic default is to focus inwardly. The next one is evangelistic apathy. This too often starts at the top. A church that's lost, that has lost its fire for evangelism usually settles into a sort of maintenance mode. A statement like this, a church that fails to evangelize is a church that will fossilize. And that is so, so important. Sometimes we have no church growth strategy. The church just assumes that just because they gather and enjoy it, others will automatically come to church. Meanwhile, the enemy, who is the strategist, according to Ephesians 6, he works his plan to keep people away from the gospel. So we have to be deliberate to reach people. Sometimes we have turf war, where we just come on the inside and another one is turf war. We come on the inside and we're just so focused in terms of everybody. The enemy takes the most microscopic things and just preoccupy our mind. Look at that one's hairstyle. Look at that one's posture. Look at that one so happy. Look at that one, he's always sad. Look at that one who is just, goofy. Look at that one, and the enemy keeps us occupied there. Oh, that another one is pastor. Is he genuine or not? Another time, he laughs too much. He's too serious. He likes me. He doesn't like me. The list goes on and on. But, our mission is bigger than all these people. It's bigger than the pastor. We do not have time for little turf stuff. It's tough to reach outside the church when everybody is fighting to keep, focus on everything that's inside, or even to keep our power inside. Plus, unbelievers also are not excited about coming into any kind of battleground. That makes sense? Yeah, they don't want that. They have their own fights out there. It's like when they come here now, they're looking for a tranquil place. They'll come and they'll realize after a while, but we have to be deliberate, that people are human to a certain extent. But that's just the way it is. One person coming from the Islamic background, he came here, went to study in Eastern Canada, but he came here one night and he walked in and he said to me, And I said, how are you? Fine. And he said, I was expecting something different. I said, what were you expecting? I was just expecting, he was expecting a sort of holy, atmosphere where people are just not normal. I said, like what? Just a more. Oh, I said, but at the end of the day, we are still, normal people, just like you, touched by the grace of God. But you have to explain it, because for them, they were expecting something like, come in and see the pastor wearing something spiritual and talking with a voice that is just utterly pious. He didn't expect a normal tone. But when they come here, they realize, and then after a while, they'll be happy to know that they can actually be them and still be here. And after they come in and they are changed, they are still changed by still having the ability to be them in terms of so many other things. Aren't you happy for that? I am so glad I came to church and they didn't turn me into T.D. Jakes. Get ready, get ready, get ready. And all of that. I kind of like the ability to still be me. I mean, I may not be as impressive, but I like being me. How many of you like being you? Turf war. The next thing is prayerlessness. We can have all kinds of dream and aspiration, but at the end of the day, that is vital to church growth. Sometimes I'm a little bit slow on the prayerless part, not because sometimes even within our church now, we just think, let's just pray and God will do the rest. But it is extremely vital, and at the same time, it's vital for us to understand that with the praying comes the labor. We need both. Sometimes we have a retreat mentality that the church becomes a place to retreat from battle and we just come here. And again, I've seen individuals walk through these doors in the week, and as they walk in, they say, this is just so peaceful. They see it as a place, to sort of pull back and just settle here and just ignore the world around us. But that's not the native function of the church. The church is a dynamic, exciting force that is designed for growth, designed for impact. And so when people hear the church, there should be what you call a brace for impact, because the church should be a dynamic force ready to go out there, to be motivated and mobilized to see great things happen in our community. And so it is vital that we recognize that. We are called to grow. We are called to reach out. We are called to expand. We are called to have tremendous impact. I like visionary individuals. I like to look at their lives. Jerry Falwell, he was ranked as, I think it was in 1971, he was ranked as America's most admired man. Of course, when he died, the political and especially the media was not overly kind with a person like that. But man, that man has accomplished amazing things. He walked out, started a school, a small academy, and then from there he was able to build it. And today it is the largest Christian university in the world. Their online student population alone is something like 130,000 plus students. Not just that, the last graduation they had there, Dr. McVitie's daughter, Shannon, graduated at the time, the last graduation. And there were like some 20 plus thousand students graduating. We're not talking about in attendance, but graduating. To get there, you have to go there from early in the morning and battle traffic because this massive stadium. And you thought to yourself, on some 6,000 or so acres of land, it starts with one individual who had a passion to see God work in and through them and to create an institution like that. The bottom line is that you can go out there and make a significant difference. Harvard today that we're looking at as one of the top schools in the world. That school was started by John Harvard, a pastor. Yale, that we talk about often, another elite school, that was started by Jonathan Wesley, the great Congregationalist preacher, and his in-laws. They were the ones who did and started that work, and we could go on and on in terms of school. The very McMaster that's just down the street here, that was started again by another pastor, McMaster. And so, when we look at these individuals, they decided to step out and they decided to allow God to minister. And I want to say to you today, because there are people here under the sound of my voice that God wants to do great and amazing things with. But you look at the things around you, you limit your life based on what you see and what seems to be the norm as it relates to people around you. And you use that as a standard. I dare say to you today, open your eyes because the world, it's full of possibilities. Look to God because God is the equiper who said you can do all things through him who strengthens you. And as you open your eyes and see the vision of Almighty God, God is excited and looking for people to pour his spirit in and to do amazing things because we've been called to have a great impact. And when the church pulled back, all of a sudden, McMaster University can lose its vision. When the church pulled back, John Harvard, who created that school, that pastor, if he should look at it today, he would say, hey, this school has lost its intended focus. And so many other places out there because the church pulled back. And the church does not take the authority and the initiative to be bold and to allow God to minister. The world needs us. They really do. But they do not understand the extent to which they do need us. But we now have to be vigilant. We have to be aware and we have to be intentional to make a difference. Young people, you don't go there and define yourself by social media and trying to fit in terms of your little friends and little conversations, things like that.
Though sometimes you get weary, you can find your strength in God. And though sometimes you fall, you rise up again because Christ has already done it for you. Join us on Sunday mornings for our worship service. Join us on Facebook as well, streaming live every Sunday. And visit us, we're at 6640 Finch Avenue West. You can see our YouTube channel for more sermons, and we'll see you again at The Rock.
Solid Rock welcomes you.